Starts to drive, step back in the air.
Oh, happy step back and kiss myself. Big time players make big time plays. Woo!
Butler.
What's going on, everyone? This is episode 1 of the, for now, the aptly named Down to the Wire Sports Talk Basketball Radio Show, whatever you want to call it. I'm here. I'm your host, one half of the Down to Your Wire team. I'm your boy, Russel Westbrooks, here with my longtime friend, college graduate, alumni, my boy, JR, Ian Oduro, the man, the myth, the legend, the Black Mamba himself. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, man? Excited
Yes.
to do this show with you, my brother. Let's get it on.
Now, a lot of people know that, I'm one half of the Podcast and Chill Show. Podcast and Chill Show heard in over 13 different countries, and I hang my hat on that. My Sixers hat, obviously, on that. But, we don't talk about a lot of sports because a lot of our listeners don't really like sports. So, I always wanted to have a sports type of, show. Right. So I'm so glad, I was finally able to do this. We were supposed to do this senior year of college, but, with COVID and everything, we weren't allowed to, and then we finally got together. We finally got it rocking and rolling. So now we can get down to business and we can start doing what we like to do. And what we like to do, let Ian tell a little bit about himself, JR. Tell a little bit about himself, and then we're going to get right into it. So, JR, you got the floor. Introduce yourself however you want. Let them know as much as you want, and then after that, we get into it.
All right. Thank you, my brother Shiz. So, they call me JR. I grew up watching basketball. I love basketball, love playing basketball, love the game. Met my guy Shiz in 2015, really predicated ourselves around basketball. That's basically 50% of our friendship. So yeah, I'm excited. I've never done a podcast before. This is my first sports cast, my first ever recording myself doing everything. So excited to get it on, man. Love talking about basketball. You know me.
Now, have you ever played basketball at all?
Yeah, so I played in high school. It was AA division in charter school. I was in the charter school division. I played in Wheeling Jesuit University where we went to school, but, grades derailed me. But always kept up with the game, always practiced, always played basketball. So, you know what it is. Yeah.
And you played in hoop group too. That's also big.
Definitely played in hoop group one summer, became an all-star there. That was when my basketball career really took off. Because that's when I really gained the confidence. Because before I would always play basketball. I would always get into the act of, always practicing every day. But, translating practice into the game-like scenario, that's different. And I feel like a lot of times when you have basketball players that don't, that get derailed when it comes to all this stuff. That's what happens. They don't know how to translate the game. So,
Right. Definitely.
It's all about,
No, go ahead.
Yeah, it's all about, having that mental toughness. And people talk about Mamba mentality, even though it's a cliche. Mamba mentality is very important. It's very important. Because you can have the skill, but having the skill times the mindset and the ability to succeed, that's what separates the great players, man.
Skill and mindset will definitely come up later on in the show. That's definitely one of our quote unquote hot takes that we're gonna have on there. That's gonna be one of our down to the wire takes. You see how I did that? It's gonna be one of our down to the wire takes that we're gonna do a little bit towards the end of the show. But before we get into anything, do you have a favorite basketball player? Do you have a player that you emulated your game off of? And if you didn't have a player you emulated your game off of, is there a player that you watched and was like, wow, that guy's really good at the game?
Dwayne Wade, of course. I grew up. Okay. So the first player I actually watched was D Rose, but I felt like Dwayne Wade, because D Rose had nuclear athleticism, so it's hard to emulate that. But so Dwayne Wade played with a pace and a different mentality to the game where I really enjoyed the Euro step. his ability to, manipulate the pick and roll, his ability to drive to the basket, get fouled, get free throw. That's all the things that I put into my game. So, and then in the later years, I was watching LeBron James and how he used his basketball IQ and how his athleticism went down and the basketball IQ was at an all-time high.
And shooting.
And shooting. Shooting is very important. We'll get into that later. Hall of Fame shooting, we'll get into that later.
Yes,
but yeah,
we definitely will.
So I would say the first time I started using actual dribbling moves when I was watching Allen Iverson use the patent crossover on Michael Jordan, of course.
Hezzy cross,
yeah.
double cross. Gotta love it.
But yeah, so when I was younger, I wasn't that tall. I was only about, I guess, 5'5". So I had to use my quickness and my crossover ability. So I was really watching Allen Iverson. I was watching Gary Payton. I was watching the Tim Hardaway left to right crossover. I was watching.
Truth be told, we were the same height for a long time.
Yeah,
we were the same height. Now I'm not short, but I mean, being 5'9", 5'10" is different from being 6'2", 6'3". It's a huge difference.
No, definitely.
And most times it depends on what division you're in when you get to college. Like you can possibly be D2 or you can honestly go D1. Sometimes it all depends on height, not even skill.
Some people, I'm glad you brought this up. Some people can't correlate the skill with the height. Yes. Let me explain.
Yes.
Some people are centers in high school because of their height, but they don't develop the skill level to translate that into college or NBA. That's where you see the drop off. That's where you see the 1%. That's where you see the drop off.
And I mean, most people in high school as high school centers, they're only around 6'4", maybe 6'5".
I was a center, and I was only about 6'1" in high school, but I was short, so I knew the point guard skills, and I was always working on my game. Somebody like for example, Zion Williamson. Zion Williamson was a phenom in high school, but I'm pretty sure when he got to the NBA, he had a wake up call. His nuclear athleticism still demands 25 and 7 a night. But it's not an easy 25 and 7.
It's not a skill 25 and 7.
It might be easy now, right? It might be easy now, but when he's still young, still a young player. But once he gets to 25, 26, 27, his basketball IQ, his ability to depict the pick and roll, all these basketball skills that you have to acquire once you get into the NBA is gonna kick in for him, and he'll be good. But
he'll be all right. I wouldn't say he'll be all-star level, but that's neither here nor there. What you brought up was really important about athleticism and skill. And you already mentioned one of the gentlemen, Derrick Rose, man. Derrick Rose, MVP year averaged 24, I think 24 and 5, somewhere around there. Beat LeBron out, youngest MVP of all time. But has suffered massive. I don't have to go into it. Everyone who has a remote idea of basketball knows how many injuries Derrick Rose has had. But when you see Derrick Rose now, and you see Derrick Rose averaging 15 and 5, like the common NBA fan will say that Derrick Rose has lost a step. But if you watch Derrick Rose and you watch how he plays, you see that the reason why he had those extra, 9 points are from dunks, from slashing, and off the pick and roll, explosive, fast breaks. But now Derrick Rose's game is more floaters, finesse, jump shots, threes, getting to the free throw line. And it just shows you Derrick Rose's career could have been over 4 years ago. It could have. But because of his skill, because of how his skill translated to the time, right? We have seen many players, right, become irrelevant, which we'll also get to at the end of this show, due to not having any athleticism. Skill comes into a big play.
The thing is about Derrick Rose, I actually think that he's a better overall basketball player right now.
He is.
Obviously the athleticism, listen, in the NBA, if you're athletic and you have the skill to match with that, you are going to be all-star, all-star plus, borderline superstar.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Like
Because
take
you
players
have
like Rudy Gay, right? Rudy Gay. When the Kings, Rudy Gay, and that era of Rudy Gay, ultimate athlete. People were saying he was like LeBron light. He was LeBron-esque. Max Kellerman loves saying that he's like LeBron-esque, right? But now injuries, getting older, you regress, and his skill level wasn't on par with his athleticism. So you see he's signing veteran minimums. He's signing smaller deals. He's just bouncing around from team to team. Whereas though you have a player like Luka Doncic, right, who has incredible skill but zero athleticism. Zero.
mm-hmm,
Can't jump over a loaf of bread, right?
mm-hmm,
But will give you 30, 10, and 8. Jokic, another one. Jokic, incredible skill. Probably one of the best. Honestly, we've only probably seen maybe like 6-point centers in the NBA. Jokic is a
mm-hmm.
point center, right? Can't jump over a loaf of bread. Probably has like a 20-inch vertical, if that. But he's 9 times out of 10 the most dangerous player on the court when you look at him and when you guard him. Again, crazy athleticism. But we're going to get into all this other stuff. We have a lot of things to cover, tonight with you guys, and girls. So we're going to do these at night and release them in the morning. So just to give you a heads
Right.
up. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of free agency buzz. There's a lot of things going on. Crazy, man. Like, our phones go off ridiculously because we have alerts for teams and players and updates, Woj bombs, sham updates and everybody. So we're going to
Mm-hmm.
get into it. Everybody already knows this because we're a little bit behind, but we're going to catch up on the next episode with the Los Angeles Lakers. Lake Show, baby. Lakers. Baby. Gotta talk about them.
Oh, man.
Gotta talk about them Lakers.
Talking about these Lakers, man, they made a lot of offseason moves. They're not done. I believe they're not done. They have about 1 or 2 players left. But they made a lot of offseason moves. Of course, we're going to get into the big one, the big fish, the elephant of the room. Your guy, Russell
Not
Westbrook.
my guy. Not my
Russell
guy.
Westbrook.
Not my guy.
Okay, my guy. He's my guy.
Russell Westbrook. Yeah, Russell
But
Westbrook.
how he fits. Now, let's talk about how he fits with LeBron and Anthony Davis. How do you view
boy.
that fit?
Now a lot of people know me in my social spheres. I am not a fan of Russell Westbrook. And it's not because he's a bad player, right? But it's almost as if, what Russell Westbrook has done with his career is unparalleled.
Right.
And I will always praise players for accolades and milestones. I am never going to be biased about an NBA player, especially not on this show. That's not my
Right.
job. My job is to say what it is and report on it with my partner here.
Of course.
But sometimes, players get so caught up in their own accolades that they almost overshadow the caveat, So Russell Westbrook, right? 3 times back to back, triple-double leader, MVP. But the last time you've been to the NBA Finals was in 2012 against LeBron James, in which you lost. Granted, you were young, right? Granted, you were young, but Russell Westbrook, as we talked about in the beginning of the show, we weren't necessarily talking about him, but we were talking about how with age and the loss of athleticism, it's supposed to bring skill, and it hasn't.
So 3 quick questions before I get into my point. Is Russell Westbrook on the same level as Kevin Durant?
No.
Is Kevin Durant on the same level as Paul George? Are they on the same level?
No.
Okay. So is Kevin Durant on the same level as Bradley Beal or James Harden?
I would say no to Bradley Beal, but if you ask me in a vacuum if I'm going to take James Harden or Kevin Durant, I'm taking Kevin Durant, but I'm not mad at you if you take James Harden. I'm not mad at you.
So that's the argument right there.
It's not.
Russell Westbrook.
It's not.
Russell Westbrook hasn't had a Kevin Durant type of teammate since 2012.
No.
Now,
Russell Westbrook. Go ahead.
If you're gonna say that Russell Westbrook, okay, are we saying that Russell Westbrook can be the best player on a championship team prior to? Okay,
No, that's not my point. My point is for Russell Westbrook to have gotten close so many times as he has, the fall offs are usually his fault. The fall offs are usually his fault. He was a part of that 3-1 lead that they blew to Golden State. Let's not forget that. He was also a part of getting the Game 7 with Houston and still not being able to close the deal. He was also a part of letting Damian Lillard shut him out. And basically, Damian Lillard was the caveat that exploded the Oklahoma City Thunder, right?
And who was the best player?
What do you mean?
Who was the best player on those Thunder teams?
I mean, it depends on what you want. It depends on what you want because Russell Westbrook was averaging a triple-double. He wasn't the best shooter. Obviously, it was quote-unquote playoff P. However, how far you want that to take you, right? But, and James Harden was also the best player on those Houston teams. It was not Russell Westbrook, not by far. But my thing is, we see the ability and Russell Westbrook's IQ on the floor. We see his shot-making ability is not there in clutch moments. We see sometimes his free throw ability as a guard. We clown Ben Simmons, and we used to clown Lonzo Ball, and we used to clown all these other guards who can't shoot as a guard, right? I am not going to allow Russell Westbrook to get away with that. You're a point guard that's averaging, a triple-double. I get the numbers are great, but there's a great line, men lie, women lie, numbers don't, but numbers can be manipulated. If you're averaging 28, 11, and 10, or whatever you're averaging, and you're not winning, or you're averaging 28, 25, 11, and 12, and you're losing in the postseason, all you're doing is just putting up empty stats. It doesn't make you a better player if you average a triple-double. It makes you a good player. It makes you a transcendent player, but you're not winning anything. You're not.
So here's the thing about Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook, to me, is a great player. Can he be the best player on a championship team? Can he be the point guard on a championship team?
No.
That remains to be seen.
The Houston Rockets had a championship team. Maybe not the Thunder. I'll give you the Thunder. The Houston Rockets had a championship team.
No. Houston Rockets did not have a championship team.
Yes,
they weren't getting past the Lakers.
But
they didn't get past the Lakers.
When you took Russell Westbrook off of the Houston Rockets and you put Chris Paul on the Houston Rockets, mind you, the same Chris Paul that just went to the finals, same one, right? They still didn't get anywhere farther than Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals.
Exactly.
So it's safe to say that was a championship team and nothing would necessarily change because the result was the same.
I can't call you a championship team if you didn't win the championship. I can't do that. I can't call you a championship team if you didn't win the championship. The Suns this year aren't a championship team. The Bucks, you won the championship. I can address you accordingly as such.
They are a championship winning team. They are a championship winning team. Okay? There are teams that are built to win a championship. That Houston Rockets team was built to win a championship. That Steve Ballmer Clippers team was built to win a championship. Now, granted, they did not, right? But they were built. That Jimmy Butler-led 76ers team was built to win a championship. Granted, they did not, but they're not championship winning teams, but those were definitely championship teams, 100%. If you get to Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals, you are a championship team.
Can't do that.
You are.
You didn't win the championship. I can't call you a championship team. For example, Chris Paul, we can put in the same breath. Chris Paul, we can put in the same breath. As Russell Westbrook because he didn't win a championship.
Not even close. Because the teams that Russell Westbrook went to, they didn't really get that much better. Every team Chris Paul has been on for his whole career has gotten better. Whether you want to say the New Orleans Pelicans, who was winning sub-20 games before Chris Paul, all right, or you want to say the Oklahoma City Thunder that, they were okay, but they won more games with Chris Paul, or if you even want to say the Clippers, the Los Angeles Clippers, man. The Los Angeles Clippers, granted they never got out of the second round, but my God, wasn't that something to watch? Lob City was created by Chris Paul and DeAndre Jordan, and obviously Blake Griffin with his pristine athleticism. And prime example, the Phoenix Suns.
Did those teams amount to anything? When we look back at these teams, what are we going to say? We're not even going to remember.
Chris Paul is 5'11", 6 feet soaking wet with a brick in each pocket, took a sub-30 win team to the NBA Finals.
Are we going to remember that when it's all said and done? He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but you didn't get it
Chris
done.
Paul's career, when you look at Chris Paul's career, you understand winning. Chris Paul is a winner, but again, he's a little guard, the average height in the NBA is 6'7". So you are 7 inches too small to be an average player in the NBA, and you still command winning. Granted, Chris Paul had a lot of injuries at the wrong time. That is very true. He had a lot of injuries at the wrong time. But my point is, you cannot count out Chris Paul simply because he didn't get the big one. Granted, the reason why you go to the NBA is to what? Win a championship. I understand that. But I will not sit here and discredit Chris Paul because he did not win a championship, because the man is a winner. 100% bona fide stud, in the words of Stephen A. Smith. Bona fide stud.
Bona fide stud. And Stephen A. Smith, I'm quoting Stephen A. Smith here. He's on the record saying that there will be something empty in Chris Paul's legacy because he doesn't have a championship. But granted, we'll get into that later. So Russell Westbrooks fit in LA.
Okay.
How do you see Russell Westbrooks fit in LA with all the shooters, the 3-and-D players they put around them? How do you see him fitting in LA with LeBron and alongside Anthony Davis?
I feel like in the regular season, this is going to go great. Barring injury, they're going to win 55, 56 plus games, right? And everybody's going to be riding high. But what scares me is this. What scares me is that Anthony Davis never plays over 70 games in the NBA. So I don't want to wish injury on any player, but there may be a time when Anthony Davis, history repeats itself. There may be a time when Anthony Davis gets injured. And if it's like the year before last, and it's the NBA Finals or it's the playoffs, he gets injured when it matters, right? And my fear is that Russell Westbrook is good for 44 out of the 48 minutes of the NBA game. We've seen it. I haven't seen clutch Russell Westbrook in a very long time, right? And I'm scared that if LeBron James, who is still, in my opinion, the greatest player in the NBA, greatest player in NBA history, bona fide basketball genius, on and off the court, that if his second best player is a non-shooting Russell Westbrook who makes poor decisions in the final 4 minutes, the final 5 minutes of every NBA game is considered clutch minutes. So he makes poor decisions in clutch moments. I am really, really scared to see the outcome. So his fit in LA is fine if Anthony Davis doesn't get injured. The last 5 minutes of the game in the postseason, when it matters, you can have 30, 12, and 12. And I could care less. I know the Lakers are going to win 50-plus games barring injury. But my fear is that when this team is supposed to go to the finals, granted, they're a little old. This team's supposed to go to the finals. I am terrified to see this implode because it's the writing on the wall. It will be LeBron James and Russell Westbrook in the final minutes of the game, and I don't know how that's going to go. But the floor is yours. Go ahead.
So a couple of things. We're assuming everybody's healthy here. Assuming a healthy, Brooklyn Nets, Lakers. We're assuming everybody's healthy.
Or Sixers.
Having said that, we'll get into them later. Having said that, I don't know how this is going to fit, but if somebody's going to make it fit, it will be LeBron James. and LeBron will have his hands on that basketball for those last 4 minutes. This is how I think that the Lakers should play this way. I think LeBron should be the primary ball handler / decision maker in every possession. I believe in the regular season, LeBron should be the third scoring option. AD should get fed every single play. They should look for AD on every single play. AD should be the closer on this team. And Russell Westbrook should just go bonkers in the regular season. Now, in the playoffs, when fingers get tight, we still have to see how it all unfolds. This is not a natural fit, but I didn't think James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant were a natural fit either. I thought that there was two ball dominant guards, but they made it work. They sacrificed for the betterment of the team. Kyrie said, "Oh, here, you have the basketball, James Harden. You're the primary decision maker." So I think that there's a lot of things that could be said. I think that there's a lot of things that could be fixed. They did add a lot of shooting around them. They do have Melo. They brought back THT. They brought back Dwight. They brought back Wayne Ellington, Kent Bazemore, Trevor Ariza's back, another 3-and-D. So we'll see what happens. But as far as the fit in LA, I have my reservations. But I do think that LeBron James will make it work. And I can see them going to the Western Conference Finals. I can see that. I can see that 100%. But we'll see. We'll see.
So, my point, you make a good point, but I just can't agree with you on a couple of things. So, the reason why I can't agree with you is this. When LeBron James in 2016, did the greatest comeback in NBA Finals history, down 3-1, came back and won the game. He had 41, scored 12 points in the fourth quarter. We know the story. We know the history. His running mate, another player I don't really care for, but that's not because of basketball reasons, is Kyrie Irving.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Kyrie Irving, probably the second best guard LeBron James has ever played with in his life. Bonafide star on the court, bonafide ball handler, but had Hall of Fame shooting.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron trusted Kyrie Irving. LeBron trusted Kyrie Irving to make the shot that everyone talks about. Nobody talks about the 12 points LeBron had in the fourth quarter, but neither here nor there. The shot, the difficult, almost turnaround shot over Steph Curry that I know Russell Westbrook cannot make. Especially not in a clutch moment. So my thing is, LeBron thrives when he has the ability to kick it to the shooter. LeBron, sometimes by default, makes the best basketball play. Like, the one knock at LeBron's legacy is that he doesn't have the quote-unquote clutch factor. We can disprove that on this show. But, that's not the topic at hand. But LeBron always makes the right play. My thing is, do you believe that LeBron James is going to have enough faith in Russell Westbrook to make the clutch shot if need be? Because defenses are going to leave Russell Westbrook open. It has been times in the regular season that you've seen Russell Westbrook not being guarded by nobody but the rim and the three-point line. Okay, so we know Anthony Davis came up big in the finals. We know that. He hit the fadeaway shot, yelled Kobe, whatever you want to say, okay. But can Russell Westbrook come to that moment? The same one that blew a 3-1 lead in the Western Conference Finals. Dame Lillard owns rental space in his head, as well as the championship that he almost won in 2012 against LeBron James, but didn't get it. So, do you believe that LeBron James trusts Russell Westbrook to make the shot, to make a clutch bucket?
You have to believe in your teammates. You have to. Danny Green shot below 30% from three in that 2020 finals, and LeBron still kicked it to him and still trusted him. See, that's the knock on LeBron. He doesn't have the clutch gene, but his clutch gene is making the right basketball play on every single occasion, and that's what people knock him for, because we compare him to Michael Jordan, we compare him to Kobe Bryant, but he's in his own realm.
He is.
But But anyways, I don't think that Russell Westbrook will be put in that position. I also think that AD should and will have the ball in his hands in clutch time situations. And also in the 2020 finals, who was the best shooter on that Lakers team? I mean, we're going to say KCP. I mean, those players really didn't.
Came up clutch game 5 and game 6.
He
Came
did.
up real
He
clutch
did.
game 6.
But let's say Trevor Ariza won't have those games. We have Melo would have one of those games. That's why they have all those veterans. So
right, but you're Russell Westbrook, and this again goes to the caveat of what we talk about. What the point is? My point is, you are an MVP. You are a triple double monster. You know, whatever. I'm not gonna sit here and give him praise right now. You have all of this. You can't shoot. Catch and shoot threes. He's gotten better. He's at, I think, 36.5-ish percent. That's good. LeBron is the king of the catch and shoot, pass it, kick, drive. We get that, right? So that's a knock. That's not a knock towards Russell Westbrook. That's actually a pro that he can. Last season, he can knock down the catch and shoot three. You know, him and LeBron probably have worked on that in some way, shape, or form. But I am just very nervous that the reason why they don't win is because of a play that was designed for Russell Westbrook, and it just doesn't go right. You know, but you know, either here or there, I want to get into all the players that that new Lakers roster. You know, just to keep it moving along. You know, obviously we have the king, LeBron James at 36. We have Carmelo Anthony at 37. We have Kendrick Nunn, point guard, shooting guard. Russell Westbrook, who's 32. All right, we have Anthony Davis, who's 28. Dwight Howard, who's 36. THT, which is 20 years old, younger than both of us on the show. Mark Gasol, 36. Kent Bazemore, Wayne Ellington. Trevor Ariza, who's also 36. Now, if you divide all that up and divide it by the number of players, you get 32 and a half. Are you worried about the age of the Los Angeles Lakers? Why or why not?
I am not worried.
Why not?
If you put in the work in the summer, see, the players that you mentioned, I mean, I have my reservations for Anthony Davis, of course, but the players that you mentioned, you know, they don't really get injured. And when was the last time you seen Carmelo Anthony get injured? When was the last time you seen
2014 with the knee injury?
2014. It's 2021. Dwight Howard, relatively. See, these players don't play big minutes.
He had a butt injury.
Butt injury a couple of years ago. But see, these players get injured aside from LeBron James, but we have our reservations for him as well because he's also getting up there in age. But these players don't really play that much minutes. Yeah, man. These players don't really play that much minutes to get injured. Trevor Ariza, 20, 25 minutes. I mean, playoff basketball. Playoff basketball will get intense. We'll get hands, will get palms, will get sweaty. You know, the games gets tighter. But in a regular season, I think the Kendrick Nunns of the world will get most of the burn. The THTs of the world.
He didn't get that much burn in the finals, though. He didn't get that much burn in the finals.
No, I'm talking about regular season. No, regular season. I'm saying the THTs, the Kendrick Nunns, the Malik Monks. I think they will get a lot of burn. I think they will get a lot of burn during the regular season, and then have LeBron, Melo, have them rest some games, but still keep the cohesion. And then in the playoffs, that's when you're really going to see them off and running. Cut the rotation down to 8 or 9. They also just re-upped Frank Vogel to a contract extension, so we'll see how that
details too.
Yeah. So we'll see how that plays out. I like him as a defensive coach, but I don't know about his offense. But yeah. So Russell Westbrook. Yeah. So Russell Westbrook was traded for 2024 second round pick, 2028 second round pick, Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, KCP, and the 2021 first round pick. So all in all, I think the Lakers felt really good about this trade. I think that they kind of short sold Russell Westbrook if I'm the Wizards, but they got back, they got back some good stuff. They signed a
You
couple
have like a
pieces. So
32-year-old guard that can't shoot. But I mean, I get it. I get it. But if we're looking at it from a playoff perspective, we already know who the eight's probably going to be, barring injury. Obviously, your starting five of LeBron, Westbrook. Definitely AD. That's your big three. Now the other spots are definitely in question because no KCP now. So like, who takes that? Who takes that shooting guard esque role? As well as, are we gonna run AD at the 4? Are we gonna run AD at the 5?
That's gonna be the 5.
Is
That's gonna be the
Dwight
5.
Howard gonna start? Marc
He's
Gasol
coming
gonna
off the
start?
bench. Yes.
So the Chicago Bulls, man. Enough with the LeBron talk. We'll probably be covering him all season. Let's get to something that needs to be talked about. The Chicago Bulls, Miami Heat. Let's get it, man. What's going on?
Oh man, Chicago Bulls. Very interesting. So they traded for Lonzo Ball after they matched the offer from the New Orleans Pelicans. 4 years, $85 million. They had traded Garrett Temple, another player, and a pick for Lonzo. Personally, this is a great deal. I feel like this should have happened like 2 years ago. I'm a Lonzo Ball fan. I root for him. I feel like the way he entered the league was kind of, a little too loud as his father wanted it to be. I feel like once he came into a shell of his own, he started playing more of his game. He really, sprouted out, and he's continuing to get better and better. He's a hard worker. He has good size. He's 6'6", defender, can run a basketball team. I feel like he can be in any basketball team in the NBA. I really like the fit with Zach LaVine. They also acquired, as you know, during the regular season last year, Nikola Vucevic, your guy.
Big Vooch, baby. That's my guy. Big Vooch.
Big
Love
Vooch.
I love Vooch.
And so I want you to get into the DeMar DeRozan trade. I want you to, share your insight on it. Just how you think the fit is going to be with Zach LaVine, Vooch, and Zoe.
Yeah, before let me move this back a bit. Before we even get into DeRozan, because that's a great topic, I just really want to say that the New Orleans Pelicans just continue to drop the ball with everything that they do. And it's starting to become a trend with smaller market teams to, you tank, you stink, you suck for so long, and then you finally get a player that you have basically waited 5 to 7, sometimes 10 years as a franchise for your paying ticket customers to see. And yet you give him no help. The Orlando Magic with, Shaquille O'Neal, they tried it. Victor Oladipo, they tried it. Then the Portland Trailblazers with Damian Lillard, not getting him enough help, not keeping your superstar that you drafted, that you waited for, happy. And it's happening again with the New Orleans Pelicans. Like, if you look at the trade that you just mentioned so eloquently, they gave up Lonzo Ball, who is a great 6'7" defensive guard, full court vision, great up and coming star, and he's not even 24 yet. Let's make that very clear. For peanuts. Right now, don't get me wrong. I love Thomas Satoransky. I was always high on him. I feel like he's a good, reserve backup point guard, very pass first point guard. Some teams look for that. But you give up Lonzo Ball, the number 2 overall draft pick, for Garrett Temple and Satoransky, and what is it, a second round pick or something like that?
Yeah, future second rounder.
A future second rounder? Now, there are gems in the second round, but that's not my point. My point is, how does this look to Zion Williamson? How does this look to Brandon Ingram? How does this look to the guys that you have that want to compete? Look at the Phoenix Suns. Look at the Phoenix Suns. One player literally took them from not winning Obviously, if you take the bubble out of it, because the bubble they did really well without Chris Paul. But overall, they took one player to turn them from not winning to a championship team, and you take the point guard off the team? Take the point guard off the team? Now, they didn't want to match it. Now, my thing is, you could have matched this deal and just kept it going. Now, my question to the New Orleans Pelicans is, who are you going to get to replace that? Who's out there to replace Lonzo Ball?
So they actually went out and got Devontae Graham. Don't know how that's gonna fit well with Zion and Brandon Ingram and.
I mean, Graham's pretty good though. Devontae Graham's pretty good.
Good player. Good player. I prefer him as a backup, but good player nonetheless.
He would be a good backup.
I just don't know what the vision is, where they go from here. They have good cornerstones in BI and Zion. I don't know how they fit. I don't know if they're the
How do you
ideal
think Zion feels? How do you think Zion feels? Like, look at Anthony Davis, right? Anthony Davis was winning, sort of. He was a star. He was a bona fide stud in New Orleans, and he couldn't get the help, that he adequately needed. Granted, I will say that he did have Drew Holiday. So my statement about not getting the help, it could be corrected because he had Drew Holiday, he had Boogie Cousins, even though Drew Holiday was facing still ankle injuries, on and off, but he had some players. But Zion, man, I feel so bad. Like, the kid is young. Like, he's younger than me, younger than a lot of people. But for small market teams, you got to keep your superstar happy, because they will leave. This is a players' league. This is not the NFL. Okay? They will leave you stranded. But anyway, getting back to your point about DeMar DeRozan's fit on the Chicago Bulls. I don't know because he's not a shooter. He says he can shoot. He says he can shoot whenever he wants. He just doesn't need to. But if you look at the talent level, there's talent on their starting five, where in terms of, you obviously Zoe, Lonzo Ball is your starting point guard. Your starting two guard is obviously Zach LaVine, franchise player. You have Vooch. Is DeMar DeRozan your three? Maybe DeMar DeRozan is your three. Now, some people may say he could come off the bench, but I don't feel like their team is set up for him to come off the bench. I feel like he still has a lot to give, even though I'm not really a fan growing up of DeMar DeRozan. But I feel like as a player, he has a lot to give in terms of being able to say that he went to the Eastern Conference Finals a couple of times. He has that, that higher level caliber that those players on that team do not have. Granted, he got steamrolled by LeBron, but he still made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, something that none of those players can say, or even say I don't even think, no, Vucevic went to the playoffs. I don't think Zoe's been to the playoffs yet. Again, you can fact check me. I don't know. But he hasn't been to the playoffs. Okay, so Zoe hasn't been to the playoffs. So he does bring that more elder statesman-esque role to the Chicago Bulls, which can be better for them. And maybe they have so much shooting in terms of with how Zach LaVine is such a high-volume shooter. His lack of shooting may be overlooked, but I do want to see how this team turns out for a playoff basketball. But overall, I feel like they went from a bottom of the barrel team to the 6th seed or 5th seed in the Eastern Conference without a doubt.
I agree. They definitely made it to the the lower level seed. 6, 7, 8. I definitely agree, but I want to see how their defensive mentality is going to be throughout the league. They have Billy Donovan, who's a great coach. They just extended him. But I need to see, because Zach LaVine, you won't mistake him as a defender. DeMar DeRozan, you won't mistake him as a defender. You also won't mistake Nikola Vucevic as a defender. So I can't hear you. Okay, we're having some technical difficulties, guys. Give us one moment. But yeah, I won't mistake any of those guys as defenders at all. So yeah, I'm interested to see how it's gonna fit. They got some nice young talent there. So yeah, while Rashawn is getting his technical difficulties figured out. We're gonna move on to the Miami Heat. One of my favorite teams of all time. They just traded for Kyle Lowry. It was a miniature guard, but it can definitely bring that veteran mindset. He can definitely bring, that scores mentality. He's a great three-point shooter. He's a great setup man. He can create your offense. So that Jimmy Butler doesn't have to handle some of the dribbling responsibilities. I feel like this is definitely an upgrade for them from Goran Dragic, but is this going to perpetuate them to the height of the Bucks?
Can you hear me?
Going to perpetuate them to the height of Brooklyn? I don't know that. They do have Bam, they do have Jimmy Butler, so we will see what happens. But I feel like they took a step back last year, and granted that was, COVID injuries, but I feel like everybody took a step back when it came to Miami Heat, even Tyler Hero.
You can hear me, right?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay.
So Sean is back. Yeah, I was just filling them in on the Miami Heat, the trades that they made with Kyle Lowry and the Goran Dragic swap. They traded their first round pick from last year, Precious Achua, to Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
So talk about that fit. Talk about how Kyle Lowry, Bam, that big three in Miami, how that's gonna unfold.
Now, Kyle Lowry is getting a bit older, a little long in the tooth, but I still feel like he can attribute to the team. Now, my question really isn't really about Kyle Lowry, it's more so about Jimmy Butler. Because as we see, Jimmy Butler had an incredible downside season. Granted, he was battling sort of an injury off and on, but Bubble Butler, as I like to call him, Bubble Butler was amazing. Bubble Butler was amazing. Took the Lakers to 6 games, 30-point triple-double, amazing. Averaging almost, lows in points, lows in assists, lows in rebounds. I don't know what happened with Jimmy Butler this season, but I really, really, really hope that Jimmy Butler, because I like Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler's a hustler. He's a dog. He works for everything he has, tough, defensively. Some people say he's overrated. I've watched videos where they show how maybe an overrated defender he is, but he's very, in my opinion, he's very tenacious. Definitely gets the job done. I really want to see Jimmy Butler succeed, and I just hope that he has a better year than he did last year, because last year left a lot to be desired, especially in the postseason. And I would also like to think that their big three, I don't know how they're going to do against Brooklyn. I also don't know if Kyrie Irving will even play next year. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. So, I would say if I had to guess in terms of big threes, I would say, I don't know who the first spot would be, but I don't think the Heat with the Kyle Lowry acquisition are better than Milwaukee. I don't think that the Heat with the Kyle Lowry acquisition are better than Brooklyn Nets if Kyrie Irving plays. And I feel like the Heat can be better than the Boston Celtics. I do feel like the Heat have the potential to be better than the Philadelphia 76ers. We will get into that later. And I also feel like the Heat will be better than the Chicago Bulls based off of chemistry and how Kyle Lowry fits. And their starting five is way better defensively than the Chicago Bulls starting five, like by light years away. So, so I mean, I would that basically, and I feel like they'd be better than the Atlanta Hawks. I feel like the Hawks are riding a high train. They're not going to be that good next year. They're not getting to the Eastern Conference Finals, next year. I don't see that happening. So I feel like with those statements, the Heat may be top 3 in the East. Top 3 in the East, right behind Brooklyn and Milwaukee. Top 3 in the East. Heard it here first. Top 3 in the East.
Top 3 in the East. That's definitely a hot take. So we're gonna hold you to that.
It's not a hot take. It's not a hot take. It's not at all a hot take.
Heat hot take. We're gonna hold you to that. And let's not forget about the Knicks. the Knicks definitely made some great moves this offseason by acquiring Evan Fournier, 4 years,
Kemba
80 plus
Walker.
million. Kemba Walker, hey man, the Knicks are building the coaching. I love it. I love it. But
Kemba
I say
Walker
it's a
doesn't
hot
win.
take. We'll get into that a little later. But I say it's a hot take. I say it's a hot take because Philadelphia 76ers.
You talking about my team?
What?
Are you talking about my team? Are you talking about my team?
Listen, so they had a downfall, an epic collapse last year in the playoffs against the Atlanta Hawks. We all seen the infamous Ben Simmons play where he drove to the basket and passed it to Matisse Thybulle to get blocked. We all saw the post-game interviews where Joel Embiid and Doc Rivers, his head coach, basically disregarded Ben Simmons when they asked him, can he be the best point guard on the championship team? We heard about all the trade rumors. We heard about all the, miscommunication with Rich Paul, Ben Simmons' agent, and Philadelphia. So I just want you to get into a little bit about where you think Ben Simmons can go. Do you think that Ben Simmons is gonna be in training camp in Philly? Yeah, talk about that, man. It's your team.
Since I have been 20 years old, I'm 24 now. I turned 24, this summer. The Philadelphia 76ers have done nothing but let me down year after year after year after year. Getting swept by the Celtics, getting beat by the Celtics 2 additional times, getting all the way to the second round of the Eastern Conference semifinals, losing to a shot by Kawhi Leonard, who will go on to win the championship. Then you fast forward into the previous season, blowing not one, but 2 20-point leads in the postseason. I'm here to tell you why, and I have notes as to why Ben Simmons is more of a liability than an asset, which is also why Ben Simmons has not found a trade home yet. First reason why, he can't shoot. He can't shoot. Second reason why, he doesn't want to shoot. So not only can he not shoot, he doesn't want to shoot. Third reason why, he's already paid. Let's take a look at something. Steph Curry, signed 200 plus $1 million contracts. What was it 3 NBA championships, 2 MVPs? Okay. Giannis Antetokounmpo, $170 plus $1 million contract, MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, NBA championship. LeBron James, multiple $100 million contracts. His resume supersedes anything I can say in this comparison. Kawhi Leonard, huge deal. 2 NBA championships, 2 Finals MVPs, Defensive Player of the Year. Ben Simmons, what have you done besides dating a Kardashian and driving a Ferrari in my neighborhood, that orange Ferrari I saw you in, to earn that money? What have you done? What? Because please tell me, right? The asking price the Sixers wanted. The Sixers at one point wanted 4 first-round picks, 3 pick swaps, and a young player from the San Antonio Spurs. You're not getting that. You're not getting that. You're not getting that. Oh, what about this one? According to, Keith Pompey of the Philly Inquirer, right? Warriors wanted Simmons, obviously. They offered Simmons in exchange for Wiggins, Wiseman, number 7, and number 14, and 2 future first rounders. Okay. Sixers declined an offer from the Pacers that would do a deal with Malcolm Brogdon and a first-round pick for Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons, what are you worth? You passed up a wide open layup in a playoff game to a player that was shorter than you, and he got blocked, and we lost the game, right? Now, if you want to talk about it, let's talk about overall stats, because that's what matters, right? Women lie, men lie, numbers don't, right? That's what everyone says.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. First year, he gets Rookie of the Year, averaging 15, 8, and 8, and 1.7 steals a game. Great season. The future's high. Great season. Second year, 16, 8, 7. Okay, up in points. All right. Up in rebounds. A little bit low in assists, but it's okay. Third year, 16.4, 7.8 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals. Okay. Fourth year, 14.3 points, 7.2 rebounds, 6.9 assists, 1.6 steals. Ben Simmons, you have been in the league for 4 years, and there had 4 active playing years, and there has been no progression. There has been nothing changed to your game. Your game is not dynamic. The three-point line guards you. The foul line guards you. Clutch moments guard you. Clutch minutes guard you. You are more of a liability than an asset than I've probably ever seen from a star player in my life. And then has the nerve to post a three-point shooting video with Rajon Rondo in this offseason. You have the nerve. You have the gall. And the word Stephen A. Smith, you have the gall. Shooting threes. When you don't want to get contact and make a free throw. When you don't want to shoot a layup, you post yourself shooting wide open gym threes. Ben Simmons, your agent says you've cut off all communication with the Sixers. Good. Go. Bye. Bye, Ben Simmons. There is nothing that you can tell me that proves that you are progressing. What? Tell me what it is. You are the point guard. You are 6'10". You literally said you can score 40 points on Rudy Gobert. Well, why were you scared to shoot a wide open layup? Because you didn't want to go to the free throw line. Why? Tell me why, Ben Simmons. Tell me why. You don't know. You want to know why? Because you already got paid. You don't care. You don't care about basketball. You don't care about winning. If you cared, you'd shoot. Anthony Davis is a below percent average shooter. Giannis Antetokounmpo is a below average shooter. But guess what they won't do? The three-point line guard Giannis Antetokounmpo shoots it. And he won an NBA championship. They said Giannis didn't have a bag. Well, he sure won a championship. And he didn't have a Joel Embiid. He had a Brook Lopez. Tobias Harris. My point is, Ben, there's been time and time again where you could have stepped up against the Atlanta Hawks. You scared of John Collins, Ben? You scared of Bogdanovich, Ben? Ben Simmons, what is it? What is it? You want out of Philadelphia, out of the pressure, Ben? Do you want out? We'll send you to Minnesota, and you will never see the playoffs again. If that's what you want. Because I thought the main point in the NBA is to get a championship. And right now, I don't think you want a championship, Ben Simmons. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, Ian. I'm done. My time is done. Ring the bell. I'm done.
So
I'm done.
So we have to take this with a grain of salt, guys. He's a very committed Philadelphia 76ers fan.
And I have been robbed.
He's been robbed of a title for more than 1 year. Because I personally thought that the Philadelphia 76ers were going to be a powerhouse this year. They were during the regular season because barring injury, they had one of the best, or If not, if he wasn't injured, he would have been the best big in the league. And Ben Simmons, a lot of people say that they didn't know how it was going to fit, but I thought that there were two superstar talents. One grew into a superstar. We definitely seen the change that Doc Rivers implemented on Joel Embiid this year, as far as getting him down low, having him be a man amongst boys, and really taking guys to the rim and the basket, really showing off his versatility. But Ben Simmons, I just felt like he just was just timid all year. I felt like he didn't want to show any aggression. You saw it in spurts where, when Joel was out and then he showed his aggression. In the defensive side of the ball, I felt like he was definitely a top 3 defender this year. You can definitely see some upside in that, but I feel like, the market for Ben Simmons is low right now. And the Philadelphia 76ers asking price is just through the roof. I don't know what they're doing right now.
We could have got James Harden. Let the record show. We could have got James Harden and just took the loss because we would have still lost anyway, according to Ben Simmons' timidness to execute offensively. We could have traded him and sent his butt to Houston. Got James Harden. Made a push. But no. We wanted to see we can get Damian Lillard. I hope to God we can ship Ben Simmons to Portland and get Damian Lillard. I hope to God. Because let me tell you something, Ben Simmons. I will never buy another Sixers ticket in Wells Fargo Arena if you are there. Because I know the end result. I've seen it. We have been swept by the Celtics. We have been embarrassed by the Celtics. We have lost to the Toronto Raptors. And we've been embarrassed by the Atlanta Hawks. I am through watching you play in my uniform. I'm through. I'm done.
Well, there you have it. As you can see, there are a lot of fans just like Rashawn. And I don't think Philadelphia fans are ever going to forgive Ben Simmons for what they saw in the playoffs. Everybody was anticipating the Philadelphia 76ers and the Bucks to clash in the Eastern Conference Finals, and we didn't get to see that happen. Ben Simmons, I think his time is done in Philadelphia. I do feel like he can improve I do feel like he's an all-star talented player.
He is an all-star talent. He doesn't want to win.
But he definitely has a lot to improve on. And there you have it. We talked about Philly. We talked about Miami Heat. We talked about, the Lakers. And, we just have to see it unfold. There's summer league going on right now. We're seeing a lot of young guys, Kate Cunningham. We're seeing Evan Mobley. We're seeing, Jalen Green.
Baby.
We're seeing LiAngelo Ball,
Yellow ball, baby.
Lonzo, LiAngelo, and LaMelo. We're going to see how that unfolds. We all love the Ball family. We love the Ball family. But, I think this is a great first episode, man. Man, this is going to be good, man. Please tune in next week, guys. We're going to have a whole different segment. We might have a guest. We never know. We might have a guest, man. We might have a guest. Any last remarks for Sean?
Listen, man, episode 1 of the Down to the Wire Sports Talk. Listen, I enjoyed this 100%. I enjoyed letting it all out, letting Ben Simmons know that letting Ben Simmons know that he needs to be shipped out of Philadelphia. Listen, I enjoyed the camaraderie, the conversation. And again, we will be recording these every Monday and dropping these on Tuesday. Patrons, for all of our patrons out there, you will be receiving it the same day it's recorded, so you will get it a day early. But besides that, listen, thank you guys. I hope we be able to grow this. We love basketball. We love talking about basketball. And there will also be times where we will not only be talking about basketball. Wanted to put that out there. But for now, our focus is especially basketball because we're in basketball season right now. There is football preseason going on and things like that. There is baseball going on like that. But unfortunately right now, this is strictly basketball. We're going to have basketball-oriented guests coming on in the future. So stay tuned, stay woke, stay loved. I'm your host, Vanessa Velli, one half of the podcast and show, and now officially one half of the Down to the Wire Sports Talk. Baby, I'm here. I'm staying here with my host, JR, Ian Adoro, second half of the Down to the Wire Sports Show. We're live, baby.
Peace out, guys.